Do you wish realizing your cloud mandate was as simple as a wave of the hand? You know there's more to it, but it doesn't have to come from lost nights and weekends. It comes from an IT partner with a proven track record of helping businesses make the impossible possible. So you can spot the extraordinary in everything. Behind your airline, we make cloud orchestration as powerful as it is simple. We run your infrastructure on a software platform that just works. Your IT managers get the runway they need to scale without compromise. And your customers can jet set anywhere their hearts desire, safely and on time. Behind your customer's ride, our software makes complex cloud management a thing of the past. With more time on hand, your IT admins can stay focused on things that matter, like ensuring the best gear in the world gets to market. Behind your bank, there's a future-proof cloud platform that allows you to seamlessly move apps and workloads between clouds, freeing your developers to build secure, innovative apps that your customers can bank on. We simplified legacy infrastructure and made it invisible. And now we're doing the same for cloud complexity, so you can focus on the magic you create. Because what we do is invisible. What you do isn't. Cloud. On your terms. Nutanix.
Hello, Nutanix.next community. I'm your host, Ben Gibson. And on behalf of all Nutanix employees, I want to welcome you to the second annual Global .next Digital Experience. We were hoping to all be together this year and can't wait until we're able to do so in the future. But this year, our theme is Cloud on Your Terms. And this year, we have designed .next to be consumed on your terms. In addition to our general session broadcast, we are offering a full library of your best, most popular breakout sessions, really the soul of .next. And this includes HCI and private cloud, hybrid multi-cloud, and building, running, and modernizing applications. We're coming to you live from Nutanix headquarters in San Jose. And you know, from our first .next conference in Miami back in 2015, to Las Vegas, to Nice, France, DC, New Orleans, London, Anaheim, Copenhagen. This .next experience has always been about a community coming together, about exciting new innovation announcements, and most importantly, about education. Ultimately, .next is about helping you do your job better with our keynotes, our breakout sessions, the labs, and certification programs. And speaking of certifications, I'm thrilled to share that the Nutanix Certified Professional was recently honored as a top 15 paying IT certification for 2021. So those of you who have it, you're in some really good company here, along with AWS, Google, and Nutanix certifications. So not only is Nutanix a great place to learn, it can set you up to earn. And I just made a rhyme. So now it's time to get on with the show. Don't worry if you miss any of the segments. Everything will be available on demand here in the platform, so you can consume .next on your terms. It's now my distinct pleasure to introduce, in his inaugural .next appearance, Rajiv Ramaswamy, President and CEO of Nutanix.
Hello. Welcome to .next 2021. Welcome to all our customers and partners. This is my first .next conference as the CEO of Nutanix, and I'm humbled and honored to be talking to you all today. Over the past 9 months, I've met many of our customers and partners, mostly virtually, and I look forward to meeting more of you in person as we emerge from COVID. Over the past 18 months, COVID has wreaked havoc on our lives. Many of us have lost loved ones. Our social, cultural, and business norms have changed. We haven't met with our extended family, friends, and our coworkers. Kids haven't been to school. Our lifestyles have been altered with masks and social distancing. Throughout all of this, technology has kept us connected. Zoom has become a verb for work or to meet with friends and family. Now we just Zoom. Work from anywhere through the power of remote desktops and VDI solutions. Meet with your doctor remotely without having to physically visit them. IT has been a key enabler in helping businesses operate throughout this period. Here at Nutanix, we are no different. We have been operating with a distributed workforce for the past 18 plus months, and we expect the workforce to be distributed even post-COVID. Many of our customers across the globe have adapted to the new realities and have accelerated their IT journey in partnership with Nutanix. While Vodafone, Toyota, and Seattle Children's Hospital may be in 3 different countries and sectors, they all adapted to the new realities by adopting and expanding VDI solutions powered by Nutanix. Faced with unprecedented strains of a pandemic, Vodafone, the $60 billion UK telecom provider, turned to virtual desktop infrastructure, VDI, to enable its workforce to work remotely. That implementation is now providing a high degree of resilience and reliability, serving approximately 50,000 concurrent employees scattered around the world. By providing flexibility for remote workers in offices or at home, Vodafone's VDI implementation, underpinned by Nutanix HCI, is helping the company breathe easier in a challenging time. Toyota, the Japanese car maker with a global footprint, had to adapt to the reality of working remotely. They're now designing their cars through their 3D CAD environment on Nutanix VDI and using these CAD models to work with manufacturing teams around the world, producing next-generation automobiles. This setup has not just given them the ability to work remotely, but also have deeper and better interactions with 3D models, replacing paper drawings. And finally, closer to home on the West Coast of the United States, Seattle Children's Hospital needed an IT infrastructure that is flexible and could be scaled up and down based on patient needs. Nutanix changed the way Seattle Children's could enable its employees, going from 0 employees working remotely to 4,000 remote workers across 46 sites who leverage VDI infrastructure to stay connected. Nutanix not only transformed the hospital's internal processes, enabling secure video conferencing, making group meetings and team huddles feasible, but went one step further to enable telehealth through Citrix VDI on Nutanix. We are happy that we played a part in enabling these customers and many more to navigate through the pandemic. As we all go through the journey to recovery, our focus now shifts from business resiliency to targeted investments as we return to growth. As you return to growth, you're focused on continuing your digital transformation, modernizing your infrastructure, moving forward with your cloud strategy, and continuing to enable your distributed workforce. It is clear that public cloud is going to be a big part of your cloud strategy. However, CIOs' thinking in terms of where their workloads reside has evolved over time. As you can see from this Morgan Stanley report published this summer, CIOs have gone from believing that almost half their workloads are going to be in the public cloud by 2023 to now believing that just over a third of their workloads will be in the public cloud even by 2024. That's almost a 10 percentage point drop. A lot of this evolution is driven by concerns around data governance, security, performance for edge use cases, and undeniably, public cloud costs. Now, my friend Martin Casado at Andreessen Horowitz recently published a widely circulated report on this, where he noted that across 50 of the top public software companies currently utilizing cloud infrastructure, an estimated $100 billion of market value is being lost due to cloud impact on margins relative to running the infrastructure themselves. He also noted that the pattern has been remarkably consistent. If you're operating at scale, the cost of cloud can at least double your infrastructure bill. I recently sat down with him to better understand his findings and how this might be relevant to our customers. So cloud has become the top operating model for most companies, especially during the pandemic. What does cloud mean for a company's bottom line? And are there nuances driving these cloud decisions? To discuss this and more, I'm super excited here to have with me Martin Casado, my good friend. Martin is a general partner at the venture capital firm of Andreessen Horowitz. But I've known Martin since his days as a PhD student at Stanford, where he pioneered software-defined networking and created one of the first companies of that era, Nicira. And we worked together for a bit at VMware as well. So welcome, Martin, and great to have you with us today. What are these trends that you're seeing when it comes to use of cloud?
I think it's important for everyone to remember that we're still actually in the early days of cloud. So, depending on who you ask, the cloud market is $300 billion a year right now. Most estimates suggest it's growing 20% year on year, and that will go for the next, almost decade, right? And so if you compare that to the $3 trillion IT industry, it's a very large market, but it's still early. And with that is we're still just starting to understand the implications of cloud. Like we know the benefits, we know like agility, we know the benefits, but we're just starting to understand the economic implications. And it turns out for some companies, actually, this is fairly significant. And so we're entering an era now, and I would view this as almost like cloud V2 understanding, where, there's a lot of discussion around like, what is the right architecture for cloud? What is the right cost model for cloud? How should I use cloud in the correct ways? And so I think this is kind of where we are with the cloud adoption cycle.
I agree, Martin. So to your point, we've seen lots of companies taking on public cloud initiatives. And when we talk to IT leaders, they talk about scale, agility, and the speed of development and being able to bring out new applications quickly. All that is not a surprise. I think there's perhaps a little bit less of an understanding of the true cost of cloud. Now, you've had a front seat position here as you sit on the boards and you've invested in a number of these born in the cloud companies, software companies and SaaS companies that really started doing everything in the public cloud. You published a fairly controversial paper here around the true cost of cloud here, and also talked about it as a bit of a paradox. And I think you call it a $1 trillion paradox, if I'm not mistaken. And so what were the key findings?
Yeah, sure. So like you said, I sit on a board of these companies. I've seen you sit there in these board meetings, you're like, wow, like 50% of our COGS, 70% of our COGS, 80% of our COGS are cloud. What's going on? So to understand this, we looked at 50 public companies, the vast majority of which IPO'd in the last 6 years. And we spelunked through S1s and we asked the question, what percentage of COGS is cloud? Mm-hmm. These are software companies, right? And it turned out that it was 50%, which is just an enormous number, right? And then we asked the question, like, listen, if 50% of the COGS is cloud, if you reduce that by a factor of 2, which is totally doable in many cases. How will that impact the share price of these companies? And across the 50 companies that we talked to, we estimate between $100 to $200 billion would be, is being suppressed, which is like, this is $200 billion across 50 companies. And by the way, the $1 trillion paradox is that, if you extend this, we were just looking at 50 companies. If you extend this industry wide, it's very easy to come up with $500 billion to $1 trillion. And so, listen, we're just starting to have companies that IPO that are heavily reliant on the cloud. We're just starting to understand the economics. And the result is that, it makes up a large portion of COGS, and that greatly, greatly suppresses the share price, unless you're able to drop it.
So are you suggesting, Martin, that these born-in-the-cloud companies actually repatriate workloads on-prem?
So it's interesting is when we started the work for the paper, the research for the paper, the goal was just to do a cost analysis. We didn't even want to come up with suggestions of what you do. We're like, listen, how much of a company's economics are driven by the cloud? In these conversations, and we really talked to dozens, many companies we spoke to says that they've either repatriated or repatriation. And so, we don't take a position on this. However, it is being done today, and it is being considered today, and clearly there are cost advantages if you do it right. And so in the large continuum of solutions, whether it's optimize better or buy a third-party tool for visibility or push it so your engineers think about cost, or repatriation, we think it is something that customers should have in the conversation. It should be part of the conversation.
So we've got about 20,000 plus enterprise customers who are starting the journey in a different way, right? They all started with on-prem data centers, and almost everybody there is looking to use the public cloud. What advice would you have for these companies as they go to the cloud? And what should they be looking out and learn from the lessons of all your SaaS companies?
So this is fairly obvious, but it's so important it bears repeating, which is optionality is critically important. And the right way to do that is upfront is multi-cloud. And it just seems to be already a reality. I mean, HashiCorp just did a survey which showed that 76% of companies are already multi-cloud. Bank of America had a CIO report that basically said the same thing recently. And so it's just important to realize that, just like all companies are becoming software companies, it feels like all software companies are becoming SaaS companies. And if you're building a SaaS service, which is really the primary mechanism of distributing software, the cloud becomes part of your COGS. And the primary way to rein that in is by having optionality on the back end. And listen, this is why I think Nutanix is so trend aligned. I mean, the world is coming your way, which is cloud is not a location. It's not a company. Cloud is an operating model. And that operating model is something that you can consume as on-prem equipment. You can consume it in a colo, or you consume it as a service over the public internet. The important thing is that you have optionality in how you consume it.
So, Martin, I think what you just said outlines exactly our vision, right? I agree with you 100%. Cloud is an operating model. Our customers are going to operate in this multi-cloud world, and I think there's an opportunity for them to do cloud right as they move forward and learn from the lessons of all these companies that have been in the cloud. So wonderful having you with us, Martin. Thank you so much, and all the best.
Awesome. Thank you.
As you heard during the conversation with Martin, the choice of clouds is dependent on a variety of factors. And CIOs are discovering what works for them as time evolves. But one thing is becoming clear, and that is hybrid multi-cloud deployments are going to be the dominant cloud strategy going forward. As Flexera noted in this recent State of the Cloud report, more than 80% of enterprise IT leaders indicated that they're looking at a multiple cloud strategy that includes both public clouds and private clouds. We've heard this loud and clear and have evolved our vision as a company to address where customers want to be by making cloud invisible and helping all of you focus on your business outcomes rather than worry about cloud complexity. Now, our mission is to delight our customers with a simple, open, hybrid, multi-cloud software platform with rich data services to build, run, and manage any application. Now, every word here in this mission matters. Simplicity, core of our tenets. Openness, your flexibility of choice. Hybrid multi-cloud to enable you to run your workloads wherever you choose, with a focus on managing all your data. On this journey, one of our focus areas has been to make our offerings simpler to consume for our customers. Now, until now, we've had 15 plus product offerings, each offering capabilities that you folks love. But managing all of these and keeping track of what each one does has not been easy, sometimes even for our partners. So we are simplifying this product portfolio from 15 plus products to 5 key solutions. Our goal here is to make it simple for our customers and partners to leverage our solutions to help achieve their business outcomes. So to talk a little bit about these solutions, foundational is cloud infrastructure, which is everything you need to build a cloud, whether it be on-prem or whether it be in a public cloud of choice. The next piece of this is cloud management, which is everything you need to operate a cloud, whether it be monitoring, observability, operations, automation, governance. On top of this platform, we have a specific set of services that we provide. Unified storage to help you manage all of your data, whether it be structured or unstructured. Database services to be able to have you manage your databases in a multi-cloud world. And then, of course, our traditional focus on end-user computing and desktop services. Our newly redesigned portfolio offers a single platform for the hybrid multi-cloud era. Whether your workloads are in a private cloud, in a public cloud, or with managed service providers and telcos. Regardless of which app you use, databases, analytics, end-user computing, or any other app of your choice. We are uniquely positioned in this hybrid multi-cloud world because of 4 key factors. First, our origins as a data-centric company. Whether it's offering all storage types from objects to files, offering the best performance for cost, ease of data mobility, and finally, security and governance. Fundamentally, the hybrid cloud today is more data-centric than ever, with data tiering, disaster recovery, and backups being immediate use cases. Second, our simplicity and ease of use have always been hallmarks of why our customers appreciate us. They simply love the one-click simplicity that we bring to all things complex. Third, our belief in fundamentally offering choice for everything, whether it's the hardware platform, whether it's the hypervisor, whether it's your choice of cloud, your choice of cloud-native platform, flexibility on licensing. You can use a single license anywhere, and as well as contract durations. And finally, our superior product and customer experience with an NPS score that you folks rate us at 90, even as we've now scaled to over 20,000 plus customers. We believe these are true differentiators that sets us apart and makes us stand out from the rest of the industry. That said, At the core of what we do is product innovation. And true to our mission, the Nutanix Cloud Platform continues to break down common silos within IT teams with the goal of simplifying operations so that customers can focus on their business needs. Our focus in the 6.0 release has been on creating a simple and open hybrid multi-cloud platform and offering the requested data services for all workloads on this platform. In AOS 6.0, we are addressing the common challenges many enterprises face in hybrid multi-cloud environments. Through these new features, enterprises will get powerful built-in virtual networking, enhanced disaster recovery, and simplified zero-trust security that would otherwise require additional specialized hardware, software, and skills. Most importantly, due to the integrated nature of the Nutanix Cloud Platform, all functionality is managed through a single interface, significantly decreasing operational overhead. It starts with an enterprise-grade AHV, with probably one of the most requested certifications from Red Hat. With this certification, customers can now rest easy that they're getting a secure and reproducible stack that is certified by Red Hat today, with more capabilities coming down the pipe through this partnership. With Flow Networking, a network virtualization offering on the AHV hypervisor, enterprises and service providers can now easily create virtual private clouds, or VPCs, to offer their users cloud-like agility with minimal dependency on underlying hardware switches and routers. Next, we introduced several business continuity and disaster recovery features, including end-to-end encryption for all disaster recovery traffic, the ability to leverage the public cloud as a secondary site, and a new DR dashboard that brings observability to DR for meeting and maintaining service level agreements. We know security is top of mind for everyone these days. With machine learning, we are automating the creation of flow policies, integrating Nutanix Cloud Platform with Qualys to streamline security patching efforts, and finally, providing superior ransomware protection against 4,000 plus known attack signatures. On the data front, our focus has been to make it easier for you all to simplify both structured and unstructured data management, as well as enhance performance and scale for the most data-intensive applications, such as databases and big data analytics. The Nutanix Cloud Platform can now deliver up to a 2x storage performance increase for database workloads and 3x for big data workloads compared to previous releases, without requiring complex reconfiguration. Our unified storage solutions for unstructured data now support tiering of files and objects from on-premises to the public cloud. We are launching a new data governance service, Nutanix Data Lens, to help customers manage their data growth, as well as security and compliance objectives. In addition, our database service, Nutanix Era, now delivers one-click storage scaling and rich roles-based access control for database management across hybrid multi-cloud environments. Taken together, we are continuing to make our hybrid multi-cloud platform much more complete so that you can deploy all your applications on it and provide you a range of data services for all your workloads. However, we're not stopping there. We're continuing to innovate for the future. As we help you, our customers, in your hybrid multi-cloud journey, we realize that one of the key asks is to converge your experience across on-prem and the public cloud. Many of you have or are planning deployments across private and public clouds. Our goal is to offer a single console to view and manage your hybrid cloud deployments running Nutanix software, be it on-prem or on public clouds. Additionally, we believe you will continue to exercise your choice of selecting multiple clouds for different workloads. We will offer a marketplace for our customers to discover, deploy, and manage both Nutanix and partner ecosystem solutions. Here to give you a short demonstration of these capabilities is Laura Jordana, Principal Technical Marketing Engineer at Nutanix. Laura, welcome.
Thank you, Rajiv. Glad to be here. So, Rajiv, you were talking about managing your resources across the public and private cloud, and in order to do that easily, that's key in a hybrid multi-cloud world, right? So, what I want to show today is here I'm logged into our new cloud management plane that gives us this visibility across all of our public and private clouds. And so we have easy visibility into a complete overview of the projects, applications, VMs, and workloads running across our Nutanix environment. So we can see here I'm running a cluster in Nutanix clusters on AWS here in Oregon. And then I have 3 on-premises clusters in my own private data centers. And we can drill into any one of these to get more details on the applications and workloads running in that environment.
Very cool here. So that's great. Now, how easy is it to add additional resources to this?
From the menu here, I can access all of my Nutanix services, and this includes Nutanix clusters. And as we know, Nutanix clusters allows us to extend Nutanix into the public cloud very, very easily. So from within the clusters portal, I'll just choose the use case. I'll choose the cloud provider that I want to deploy to. In this case, I'll do AWS. I'll select the region. We just need to configure the networking and the type of hosts that we want to deploy and the number of hosts, the software version, of course, and we can do advanced settings such as scheduling the cluster to terminate at a specific time if we're spinning this up for seasonal load. And then finally, on the last screen here, we'll simply review our configurations, and it'll also check for us to make sure our quotas are sufficient in our cloud account. And then once we're happy with all the selections here, we can just go ahead and click deploy or create. And it will take about 45 minutes, and we'll have a new cluster that we can manage alongside our other resources.
So in 45 minutes, you're going to have a brand new data center all up and running in AWS. And can you start using this right away once you're done with the provisioning?
Yes, definitely. So once it's done provisioning, we're able to start using it. And with the Nutanix Marketplace, we're able to deploy applications easily onto any of our environments. And so coming over here to the Marketplace, I can see my Nutanix services, so we can enable things like Era, files, and objects, as well as applications from our preferred partners. For example, if I wanted to get started with OpenShift, I'll just come here and click on Get, and I'll be able to launch OpenShift onto any of those domains. So we can see, I'll just give it a name here, and the domain I'll select, and it's one of those 4 that we saw on our map earlier, and then of course our new one would be added there as well. We just click deploy, the system takes care of the rest, and we're able to monitor this deployment as well by clicking on the audit tab and making sure that everything, we can see it step by step as it's being deployed.
Oh, very, very cool, Laura. So this is a single pane of glass for our customers to manage all their Nutanix environments, be it on-prem or in the public cloud. So what else do we expect to get from this cloud control plane, Laura?
Yeah, that's a great question, Rajiv. So not only does this give us a way to manage the entire Nutanix stack across the public and private cloud, but it also gives our customers and ourselves, of course, the ability to access our cloud-based services as well. So for example, a customer can come in and easily access all of our multi-cloud solutions without being tied to the Nutanix infrastructure. So they can access Beam, Comm SaaS, and then any other SaaS products that we may have in the future.
Very cool, very cool. Thanks, Laura, for this demo. As you just saw, Laura showed us how we can manage different clusters. In this case, on AWS and the private cloud from a single interface. You also saw the marketplace in action and how we can launch OpenShift from the marketplace onto one of our Nutanix clusters. We understand the importance of cloud native for our customers. We're continuing to make strides in helping our customers build, deploy, and manage cloud native apps through our partnership with Red Hat. Recently, our Chief Commercial Officer, Tarkan Menier, sat down with Marco Bilpeter, SVP for Customer Experience and Operations at Red Hat, to talk more about this.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. This is Tarkan Menier, Chief Commercial Officer at Nutanix. I have a dear friend with me here today, Marco Bilpeter from Red Hat. He's the SVP Customer Success at Red Hat, a dear friend of our company. And obviously, we announced this big partnership between these two market-leading, industry-leading vendors over the past few months. And Marco and I will have a quick conversation about the partnership and where this partnership will go. But before we get started, Marco, since you are the guru of all the customers at Red Hat, what are the initial views and feedback from the customers you're hearing?
Well, thank you for having me, Tarkan. And I would say the initial views are overwhelming, very positive. A lot of customers saying, well, it's great, this is exactly what we need. And I think why is that, right? I think all our customers, joint customers, they are all in this transition, right? They're all looking at, hey, how do we really can deploy applications in this hybrid cloud, right? There's so many options right now, but all customers need the flexibility. They want to have the choice. They're all doing it, application deployment with containers. And when they hear that we have a partnership, they can rely on, finally, there's a certified, secure, reproducible stack that they can run their application on it, right? So this certification, which is part of the agreement, is a huge, huge step. And then on the after side, right, knowing we can rely on both these vendors together is really what I hear. Very, very positive views.
Fantastic. And Marco, as you look at the partnership as a whole, what are the key tenets, key dimensions of the partnership that you see interesting for our customers and also our channel partners as we move forward?
Yeah, I think the key tenets or the key principles that we have, one is a real engineering collaboration and engineering work to certify the AHV stack or the hypervisor from Nutanix as a certified hypervisor. This is crucial. We don't have that many certified hypervisors that you allow to run Red Hat Enterprise Linux and Red Hat OpenShift on it. So that real engineering work, I think, is superb. And it's engineering work for today, but it's also the joint roadmap for the future, right? Which is as important as is status quo today. And I think on the post-sale side, having a support that really is integrated and we have joint resources on it that work closely together, can reproduce issues if they happen together, I think is crucial. It stops the finger pointing, and so customers really can rely on, hey, this is a partnership that really matters for them. So I am excited. I think customers, the feedback, as I said before, is super, right? Their success is our success in the end. So it's good.
How do you see the key tenets maybe changing based on the trends we're seeing in the marketplace, based on the new demands that you're seeing from your customers as you have the pulse of your customers? How do you see this partnership might change in the future, Marco?
Yeah, I think the future is not just hybrid, but it's also very flexible for customers, right? There's a few trends that we see, right? And one is the edge trend, right? To how do you run applications in the edge? And the edge can be your ATM, but could also be something as big as a manufacturing plant that you want to run in a remote location, right? So size doesn't really matter on that aspect, right? But that's the edge aspect is one of the edge computing is something that I think with this build up where we have, it works. It's super well. And I think the other trend I see as well is when all these customers, they're all building applications different, or they want to build it in a cloud environment, but then they want to be able to run it in different footprints, right? Yes, it connects to the edge, what I just mentioned, but refactoring the applications, putting it in a container, and then really deploy them in different ways, be it locally, be it remote, be it in a cloud, be it mixed, with the security and the certification. I think that's super critical. And you see, I think one of the joint customers we can name here that is Kohl's. And Kohl's was so excited about this relationship because they know they leverage all of our products from both companies today, but they also know how they can leverage that in the future. So I think this is, the future will tell, but I think we built the right foundation to actually be able to provide what customers want in the future.
So Marco, any final thoughts as we're parting until the next time that we're going to do another event like this?
Yeah, thank you, Tarkan. I do think we built the platform, we built the foundation. It will evolve, right? And like you say, right, as in right now, Kohl's, Unum, as large customers will benefit immediately. But I'm convinced smaller customers that I talk to as well, they will benefit from this as well. And they are actually the ones that that they are struggling probably more, as in how do we become these operators, right? Operator in the sense applications will be deployed in different ways. I think what we've done here is, this is a complex landscape, and for the smaller customers, we actually make it more consumable, right? And so that's where I see this is what Red Hat did in the early 2000s in the OS landscape. And I think we are doing it together as well for these customers, large and small and medium, that actually they're able to do this in this hybrid cloud. So I'm excited about it, and I look forward to be on the next event with you, Tarkan.
That's super, Marco. Thank you so much. For folks out there, our customers and partners, there are tons of information on Nutanix.com and on redhat.com, tons of resources, content, connection points. Please go to these websites to get more information. And again, Marco, thank you for joining us from all the way from Zurich live. Thank you, vielen Dank, Dankeschön, merci beaucoup, grazie mille, whatever language that you might be using around the world, and look forward to working with you, Marco, and with your team. Back to you, Rajiv.
Thanks, Tarkan. Red Hat is a critical partner for Nutanix to serve customers on their hybrid multi-cloud journey. As they say, it takes a village to go through on this journey, and building a strong partner ecosystem has been critical for us to serve our customers better. Our private cloud partnerships with HPE and Lenovo have seen substantial momentum with their as-a-service offerings, as well as broadened support for their platforms. With clusters, we've now extended the same goodness that AOS offers in the private cloud to the public cloud through our partnerships with AWS and Azure. Speaking of Azure, we've been working closely with Azure, both on engineering and go-to-market, to bring a hybrid cloud solution to the market. Our goal is to jointly accelerate cloud adoption for scale, elasticity, and app modernization, preserve existing investments in skills and technology with unified hybrid cloud infrastructure and management, eliminate complexity and risk involved with hybrid cloud management and operations with co-engineered hybrid solutions from Microsoft and Nutanix. Here to talk about it is Eric Lockhart, Corporate VP from Microsoft Azure, and Monica Kumar, who's our SVP of Marketing and Cloud Go-to-Market. Monica, over to you.
Thank you, Rajiv. As you know, Microsoft Azure and Nutanix teams have been working hand in hand, co-engineering best-in-class hybrid cloud solutions so you, our customers, can leverage your existing investments while taking advantage of Azure. To discuss more about our collaboration and the recent trends in cloud, I'm pleased to welcome Eric Lockhart, Corporate Vice President at Microsoft. Welcome, Eric.
Oh, thank you. It's great to be here. Thanks.
Well, and great to be in the same physical space, you know.
Oh, isn't it great?
Thank you for flying down here for this. So, Eric, tell me about your role at Microsoft.
Yeah, so I run an engineering team in the Azure organization at Microsoft, and our mission is really to expand the definition of what Azure is in the eyes of our customers. And the primary way we do that is to work with partners who have very prevalent platforms that customers have applications tied to, and bring those platforms to Azure in the cloud. So it really is, the goal there is to kind of lower the bar for what it takes for customers with significant investments in these platforms to come to the cloud, and then be able to, over time, complement those applications with the breadth of public cloud services that Azure offers.
So you are obviously very close to all the latest and greatest trends in cloud adoption. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously there's been a tremendous amount of acceleration of digital transformation over the last 18 months. I mean, the pandemic has really accelerated that, and not just in the obvious ways of wanting to facilitate more work from home. It's also about customers needing flexibility to be able to burst their workloads without having to invest in large amounts of dedicated capital. And it's not just pandemic related. It's also things like the spate of ransomware attacks that we've seen driving customers to want kind of more bulletproof disaster recovery with a cloud solution. And so there's just been massive acceleration of cloud adoption across the board for a bunch of reasons. And something like 3 out of every 4 customers I talk to have said they've accelerated their cloud adoption plans because of what's happened over the last 18 months.
Right, and obviously hybrid cloud has become one of the most important IT operating models as we know it. But there's still issues in actually deploying hybrid cloud environments because of limited skill set or lack of resources, and even the disparity between on-premises environments and then the cloud security, networking, management, right? And I think that's why the work that we are doing together, the co-engineering effort, is so much more important. So I'd love for you to dig a little deeper into the Nutanix clusters on Azure offering and what it would mean for our joint customers.
Yeah, so I mean, it was super exciting. I mean, we're in preview now together. We've been working together on this for quite some time, with Nutanix clusters on Azure, and it really, what it does is it addresses the issues you said. I mean, customers have deep investments not only in their on-premises platform or their private cloud platform, but in the training and the capabilities. Applications take advantage of all the great functionality that something like Nutanix clusters provide. And so by jointly working together to bring that symmetry of platform to Azure, it really facilitates customers who want to extend their now hybrid environment up into Azure. Maybe they want to burst at the end of the quarter. Maybe they want to have a disaster recovery scenario or greater protection against ransomware. And to do that within an environment that leverages their sunk investment in training and tools in the application platform. And then over time, because it's resident in Azure, in the public cloud, they can complement those applications by taking advantage of the breadth of all of the things that Azure provides. So it's really a true win-win. I like to say that we don't really care how you come to Azure. We just want Azure to be the best cloud for you. And so, our mission together, I think, is to make Azure the best cloud for Nutanix customers.
Well said. And again, I think you reiterated some very, important use cases: bursting to cloud, workload migration, cloud disaster recovery, and really building an on-ramp to modernizing applications with Azure Cloud Services. Now, as you said, all the work that our engineering teams have been doing together is now paying off. So today we're announcing the preview. And what I would encourage our audience and customers to do is go to nutanix.com/Azure and take a test drive, experience the product capabilities, and sign up for the preview if you'd like to. We will be working with select organizations who can be part of early access, and you can help shape our roadmap together. Now, we are also, of course, working on other solutions, namely Kubernetes.
Yep.
So, Kubernetes with Azure Arc and Nutanix, and I'd love for you to tell us a bit more about that solution and what it means for customers.
Yeah, also super exciting. I mean, now that Microsoft has validated the Carbon Kubernetes solution from Nutanix, it really allows for Nutanix clusters and Kubernetes on top of that, whether that's on-prem or in the cloud, to fall underneath the Azure Arc umbrella and to really bring the power of that common management, monitoring, deployment to the Nutanix hybrid cloud. So again, another super exciting example of a great partnership that really kind of provides customers with an easier on-ramp to manage their diverse cloud assets in a hybrid environment. So it's super exciting.
Yeah, thank you. And again, as you know, Nutanix is all about simplicity. So again, this is yet another way we are simplifying our customers' environment where they can build and manage cloud-native applications and deploy the infrastructure associated with it. Eric, this is also exciting. Let me ask you, what do you think is next for a partnership in the coming months?
I'll say I think this is, this is not the end and not even the beginning of the end, but maybe the end of the beginning. I think this is the start of what will be a lot of joint investment, expansion, more regions, more capabilities. Super exciting partnership. It's been great working with your team. And I think it's really something that customers will just love because it's so customer friendly.
Yes, and we're looking forward to ongoing milestones with obviously general availability and becoming part of the Azure marketplace and so on. Again, I 100% agree with you. Indeed, this is an exciting partnership, and it's fully validated by the tremendous interest that we are seeing from our joint customers for these combined solutions. Yep. So again, I want to reiterate for all of you here, if you want to get more information about the solution we are just talking about, do come to our Day 2 keynote where we will talk about technology innovations in many more details. And also you have a whole catalog of on-demand sessions at your disposal. So go join those as well. And go to nutanix.com/Azure. Eric, thank you so much for being here in person.
My pleasure, yeah.
And looking forward to a partnership to help joint customer success.
Yeah, it's been a great partnership, and I really appreciate all the work your team's done.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Monica and Eric. We're very excited to see our partnership with Microsoft Azure move forward. And judging by those customer comments, we have a lot of pent-up demand for our joint hybrid cloud offering. Now we want to shift to get perspectives from CIOs and market experts. There are plenty of go to the public cloud edicts going around. But what's the reality behind the theory of getting that all done? How do you make sure you have the right operating model? Expectations and realities for cost, governance, and control. I can't think of a better host than our own CIO, Wendy Pfeiffer, to explore all of this. We're calling it Mythbusters Cloud Edition. And after this segment, we will be hearing from Rajiv again with one more special announcement. Now, please welcome Wendy, joined by her very special guest.
Well, thank you, Ben, and it is so nice to be here on stage today at our .next conference. It feels like it's been so long since I've had a chance to speak with anyone. Today we have a very exciting myth-busting panel, and I have some special guests here today. Joining me on today's panel are William Blair's industry analyst, Jason Ader, who recently authored To Cloud or Not to Cloud, an investor's guide to evaluating workload placement. And then Christian Abajadi, CTO of Keck Medicine USC, and he's changing the world of telemedicine for all of us. Next, I've got Jason Stump, CIO of Wynn Resorts, one of my favorite places, who is leading the charge to enable hybrid gaming operations. And last but not least, Harry Mosley, CIO of Zoom, who, as you all know, is blending consumer technology and enterprise technology to create one of the pillars of hybrid work for us. Welcome, gentlemen. Nice to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Good to be
Great
here.
to be here.
All right, so this is such a cool opportunity for us to do some myth busting, you guys. The following are opinions that are widely regarded as truth among IT vendors, IT professionals. So I want to know, what do you think about these things? Are they myth or fact, and why? All right, I'm going to start with the most often cited words these days, I think, among all of everybody. Our employees cannot collaborate as effectively remotely as they do in offices. We got to be in person. Harry, what do you think? Myth or fact, and why?
I think that's a myth. I think that it's been proven that over the last 21 months, for many millions of people around the world in various industries, that productivity and ability to contribute has been operating at a scale that many organizations haven't seen before. Many of them have actually are now going to move to a hybrid work model. The challenge, of course, is how do they maintain the democratization of meetings that we've all now experienced in the virtual world? How do we maintain that in the hybrid world? And so, at Zoom, we've got a whole bunch of technologies that we've been rolling out to support that. So super excited about the ability for people to work from not just home, work from anywhere, and as well as in the office. So personally, I think it's a myth that people can't work from anywhere effectively.
I mean, what do the rest of you guys think? Are you hearing this? We've got to get back to offices so that we can be effective. Is there some truth to that?
I love it. I love collaborating remotely with my team. It's probably been the most productive 18 months of my career in terms of content output, which is what I do. I produce research, so I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
When you think about the productivity, you think about sort of the commute time. I happened to be, in Manhattan today, Midtown Manhattan, New York, and had lunch with the chief technology officer for an investment bank. And, he's back in his office 5 days a week, and he says, it's killing him, this 2-hour commute every day, 2 hours round trip, and 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. He said, he misses, not being able to collaborate with his team globally from the comfort of his home up in Westchester. And I think that, I think that there's a missing element, and I think everybody would agree with that, which is the missing element is, how do you maintain culture? How do you maintain connectivity with people? Because in the virtual world, it's all very deliberate. And yes, we've got chat and various different chat platforms that enhance that. But the, sort of the walk-bys, the flybys, the hey, Wendy, hey, Jason, do you have a quick minute, that type of accidental bumping. And also junior people really value the opportunity of both being in the office to interact with people. So I think that's why I fundamentally believe it's a hybrid model. It's not 100% virtual. It's not 100% in the office. It's a mixed mode.
Yeah, I mean, thinking about mixed mode, we also have a mixed mode of people in the workplace as well, right? We've got Gen Z coming in. They're the first digitally native generation of workers. We've got people of my generation who, actually saw internet, sort of come to the workplace, and everyone in between. And so part of what we're talking about is this democratization, this, ability for people to show up how and when and where they want to. Now, a lot of these technologies that we're using, they run in public cloud. And of course, a lot of IT technology runs on premises and data centers and in public cloud as well. Let's go on to sort of the cloud topic. And another myth potentially or fact that I have heard. Jason Stump, this is for you. Is cybersecurity a bigger concern in public cloud versus on premises? What do you think?
So I think it depends on the organization. So if you have a very robust IT security team, then there's less risk operating on-prem. If you have a very small security team or not mature, I think the cloud offers that ability to patch your systems for you, to secure them for you. So I'm on the fence. I think there's not a one-size-fits-all, and I think it just depends on the organization. So I know it's not a fact or a myth, but I think it really depends on the IT security posture in that organization.
Now, I've heard some analysts, some of the pundits say that there's something inherent about cloud technology, or maybe how cloud technology shows up, that makes it less secure. Maybe we can't touch it or see it, or maybe it's just vast and it's multi-tenant. Any truth to that? Or sounds like what you were talking about was just cybersecurity best practices and operational strength.
Yeah, so if you talk about cloud technology, just because you can't see it, I really think that helps from a physical standpoint. It's more physically secure to be in the cloud versus if you have an on-prem data center, someone can break into your company and access your resources pretty easily versus the cloud. It could be in a data center on the East Coast or the West Coast. So I think that's a big differentiator as well.
But personally, I believe that the challenges on cybersecurity, whether you're on-prem or in the cloud, are equally challenged. Having servers and storage and networks running in a different physical location to a physical location that you own and operate and maintain, I think it's equally challenging, and that's my opinion.
Yeah, Wendy, I would agree with what Harry said as well. I think that security is a culture, it's an approach, it's a mindset. Where it's physically located may have little to do with how you perceive it as far as whether it's a bigger concern or a lesser of a concern. But as long as you have the attitude and the culture managed appropriately, you should be able to exist in both. So I think it's in the middle between myth and fact, depending on the how comfortable you are as an organization with managing security.
I think that people read headlines and they don't understand the details, and so the notion that you can buy services from a public cloud and you get everything you ever wanted there for pennies on the dollar, I think is quote a myth. I don't think it's a fact. The fact is that you can buy, servers and storage and capacity and have it on demand, and you can dial it up and dial it down. That's all true. But you still need resources to manage, maintain, operate, support, put the policies in place, and put the security practices in place. And I think it was Christian who just said, and it's cultural. It's like, security has to be a bedrock in the culture of an organization. And if it's not, doesn't matter if you're on-prem or in a public cloud.
All right, so then kind of moving into the realm of those vendors that are running your workloads in the cloud, SaaS vendors, public cloud vendors, are they just simply more effective at innovation than IT is? What do you think about that, Christian? Myth or fact?
So I think on this one, we're a little bit closer to fact than maybe myth, only because SaaS vendors tend to make it more efficient, potentially how things are leveraged from an innovation standpoint. But there is a critical element to innovation. It's actually having a team that's innovative, having the ability to think differently, to look outside the box, or even maybe redefine the box. Innovation isn't necessarily doing things faster or quicker. It's actually doing things different and being able to create a new environment out of an opportunity. And I really think that a team culture has to start there. You have to be able to have the thinking capability, the attitude, the organizational backing to think from an innovative standpoint, so you can push that further out into your workspace. Then from a SaaS perspective, you're able to build, destroy, rebuild again faster. But the truth is you can do that on-prem as well. So to answer your question more definitively between myth and fact, on a scale, I think I would lean a bit more to fact, but I wouldn't go all the way to the end of the spectrum.
So maybe nothing inherent about operating in public cloud or being a SaaS vendor that makes you more innovative, but something about the operating model, the speed, the scale. What do the rest of you think? Jason Stump, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think in some circumstances, a service provider could stand up something much quicker than you can, because this is their business operation, right? That's what they're selling. And so I really think it depends on the technology, because they've already done it before. So it's just, creating that instance for you and spinning it up pretty quickly.
So this kind of gets to the heart of how we operate. And it's a very IT discussion. So naturally, I invited an industry analyst to the IT discussion. So Jason, what do you think? What say you? Is cloud a consumption model and not an operating model, or an operating model and not a consumption model? Would love to hear your thoughts about that.
Yeah, I would say that cloud is an operating model, not a destination or a consumption model.
Interesting.
What I mean by that is, well, you can have cloud operating principles, and those can be applied no matter where the application runs. It could run in a public cloud, it can run in a private cloud, and that's where the term private cloud really comes from, because you're applying cloud operating principles to your on-prem environment. And those principles would be things like self-service provisioning, high degree of automation, ease of use, and obviously as a service pricing, on-demand elastic consumption. So I think it really, from a customer perspective, what we found is that really depends on the workload to understand or to really consider where you'd like to run it, and the cloud operating principles can be applied no matter where the workload runs.
All right, so you're coming down on the side of cloud as an operating model, not a consumption model. Now, I thought I heard a couple of our other panelists saying, well, I mean, it's just consumption. I don't care where I'm consuming. Anyone care to offer a contrary opinion?
I think that, Wendy, I'll give it a try. I think that from a cloud perspective, you still have to have a little bit of structure in how you actually consume the cloud. So you can operate your consumption of the cloud and be able to manage appropriately how the services are rendered, how they're received, how they're consumed, how they're produced back to your internal customers. I think part of the danger that comes into thinking of the cloud as a consumption model could potentially end up in a very high bill at the end of the month, because we on-prem, sometimes we let go of a few of our behavioral processes related to consuming our products or our resources. In the cloud, you have to be a lot more structured, and which leads to more appropriate operations and how you go forward with, leveraging services from cloud providers, if you would. And then in hybrid mode, is it easy? Is it hard to bring those operating principles back on premises? If you're thinking in the same way, meaning like you ignore where the actual physical resource is sitting and you have a behavior that is the same on-prem and in the cloud, you're able to manage through that. If you tend to be less structured, you could have some problems if you're in a hybrid mode, yes. So what I heard some keywords there. You have a behavior and an operating model that operates the same no matter where you're consuming. What do you think about that, Jason? How would that run mode work for you at Wynn Resorts?
Yeah, so I think we're running a little bit hybrid today, but due to regulatory things, some of the core systems have to remain on site. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's just an education. But at some point it will be in the cloud. I'm sure of it. But some of our stuff run in the cloud and some are on-prem, depending on the system and the regulatory requirement. All you regulators out there, this hybrid cloud model, pretty cool. Just kidding there. So, all right, Jason. You've written one of the quintessential white papers on this topic, right? To cloud or not to cloud, and sort of outline the different decisions that CIOs make as to where they run, how they run, and even reasons why workloads shift from mode to mode. For those who are most successful, it sounds like we're depending on this single operating model, this cloud-like operating model to bring success. Are you sort of seeing that? Does that help to sort of make one end of the spectrum, either consumption model or operating model, lend some strength to either end of that?
Yeah, and I think you need to plan ahead when you're let's say you're going to be on-prem. Plan for that application, architect it in a way that it could be moved to the public cloud. If, Wynn Resorts at some point gets the nod from the regulators, But I think it really depends, again, on the workload, on the customer, on the industry. There's cost considerations, there's control. I talked about security in terms of, you probably are going to be more secure if you're a large enterprise and you have a great security team. You're probably going to be more secure on-prem. There's performance considerations in terms of, where the app sits and does it need performance, and maybe it's better to have, some type of locality at the edge, and obviously compliance. So there's like a whole set of considerations and parameters, I think, as customers think about where the app should live, but they should use cloud operating principles no matter what.
I agree with everything that Jason just said, but I want to pivot back to a topic that you mentioned a few moments ago, Wendy, which is like innovation. If I go back in time, 1981, I know that's a long time ago, but that's when I did a startup. It wasn't called a startup back then. And when I did that, I had to go and buy a mini computer, and I had to run, twisted pair and buy terminals and hardware and all that sort of stuff. And it was a huge out of pocket. We're talking, a significant chunk of change back then, which would probably be at least one, if not two orders of magnitude more today. On the other hand, if I was doing a startup today, I could just swipe my credit card and spin up, probably 10 times the amount of power for a fraction of the cost, and it would take me probably 15 minutes to do that. So I think from an innovation perspective, the opportunities are dramatic by comparison to doing on-prem.
Yeah, I would agree with you in terms of speed of execution, but then ultimately we need those operating principles in place as we potentially scale. And so what we're talking about is what all of us are living in right now, which is a hybrid world, right? It's hybrid work, it's hybrid communication, hybrid schooling, hybrid cloud. And that is exactly what we're trying to run in all of your environments. And so, folks, I'm going to ask you sort of one last question, just a lightning round question. I'm going to start with you, Christian. And that question is, what is the most important element to have in place for hybrid cloud operations? You go first, Christian.
The ability to communicate and the ability to understand that you need to be very succinct in your, in collecting information and what you need from both your employees, your organization, and focusing on the issue at hand through very quick ability to turn things around and respond to demands of the business.
Awesome. So Jason, what's the most important element needed for hybrid operations?
So for me, it's a secure underlying. We talked about it earlier. Have a great IT security program, whether it's on-prem or in the cloud. And then the second part of that is to make sure you're scaling your cloud to meet your business requirements so that you can scale as fast as they need to when you're called upon.
Awesome. Jason Ader, what about for you?
I would just say that with cloud, the meter is always running. So be aware of that and have the management in place, the staff in place that can help make sure that you're not going to get sticker shock.
Awesome. And Harry, bring us home. What's the most important element for hybrid operations?
I think secure. I wrote it down because I had a feeling that my colleagues might share the same. I didn't want to be. Security is the bedrock. Security has to come before everything else. Security is the bedrock of every organization. Reputation is at stake. Privacy, data, the whole 9 yards, the whole operation. So I think if you haven't got security as the bedrock, everything else is up for grabs.
Literally and figuratively. All right, guys, thank you so much. This has been Myth-Busting, Nutanix style, and I think we've discovered that it's a hybrid world. Look forward to talking with you all again soon. Thank you guys so much. And now it's time to welcome Rajiv Ramaswamy back to the stage. Rajiv?
Thank you, Wendy, and the panel for the fascinating discussion. As Ben mentioned, I have one more special announcement to share with you. We all know that the past 18 months have created unique demands on IT organizations to first enable a secure work-from-home environment, and now to plan for returning to offices and new hybrid work models. Today, Nutanix and Citrix have announced a new strategic partnership that makes it as easy as possible for our joint customers to navigate these changing times. You're now going to hear from Tarkan Maynir, our Chief Commercial Officer, with a special guest from Citrix to explore this new partnership.
Thank you, Rajiv. This is Tarkan Maynir, Chief Commercial Officer at Nutanix, and I have another great guest today with us, Sridhar Mullapudi at Citrix, EVP of Products. Sridhar has been a great friend to Nutanix, also to me personally for many years. He's been basically at Citrix for 2 decades, running strategy, product, portfolio, in multiple roles, and he's been a great friend to our customers and joint partners as well. And today, I'm super excited to have Sridhar to announce our new joint preferred partnership between 2 companies after a decade of Nutanix existence, and finally, we're given this amazing platform for our customers and partners to win together and to deliver solutions together. So Sridhar, how are the views from your side, from Citrix side, as well as from your customers and partners so far about this partnership as a whole?
Hey, first, thank you so much, Tarkan. Really excited to be here, another .next conference. Our relationship, both at work and personally goes back a long time. So I'm really, really happy and excited to be part of .next and really announcing our next generation partnership, right? If you just take a step back, our customers, our joint customers have been our common driving force, right? Since the beginning of our partnership, even years back, and I'm so excited that we are extending that further today. And we're so grateful for the thousands of customers who are already relying on Citrix on Nutanix. Many of you might be tuned in today, and to you, I say our deepest thanks.
That's fantastic. So Sridhar, speaking of those, about those comments, when you think about the tenets, the key dimensions of the partnership, can you give some of those dimensions with a little bit more, specifics behind that from Citrix perspective and for our joint customers and partners?
Sure, absolutely. I'll cover different aspects of the partnership and the key tenets, whether it's product or go-to-market, support, and everything else, Tarkan. First, I think I want to take a step back and say, look, the next challenge and opportunity ahead for all of us is really working together to support our joint customer evolution into a hybrid workforce. If there's one thing that's been clear through the pandemic is really IT and our joint customers really supporting and evolving their IT infrastructure to support a hybrid workforce, right? And companies that can successfully do this, we definitely believe, have a key advantage in attracting and retaining talent. Almost remote work and hybrid work is like sign-on bonus. Everybody expects it, so that's a key part of attracting talent, scaling operations, really creating a competitive advantage. Now, earlier today, we announced our collaboration to advance solutions for Citrix DaaS and Citrix Virtual Apps and Desktop Service on Nutanix. Nutanix will be a preferred choice for HCI and hybrid multi-cloud solutions for security. That includes tighter collaboration at all the points in customer experience, whether it's product teams taking it to the next level in terms of partnership, ensuring validation, interoperability as soon as new features and capabilities become generally available for our customers and partners. Second, our customer support teams really partnering for a seamless experience that focus on faster resolution times for joint customers, whether it involves joint technical training, collaboration on customer cases, alignment of process, you can expect more. And last but not the least, the go-to-market team. Will strongly partner to drive market awareness on our joint solutions, education, plus proposing some new solutions, to our new and existing customers, enabling joint channel partners, and anything else that's needed to really help customers leverage Nutanix, for their HCI and hybrid multi-cloud deployments, whether it's a Citrix DaaS or a virtual apps and desktop offering.
That's fantastic. We are both market leaders in our respective markets, and this is a perfect marriage for the entire EUC market. I'm sure our customers and partners are obviously loving this announcement. They've been waiting for this for a long time. We partnered in multiple ways, but never formal like this, so we are super excited. Again, to reiterate what I heard from you around alignment around portfolio, alignment around go-to-market, direct and indirect through our partners, obviously. We are both very channel-oriented two companies. Everything goes through our channel, our strategic partners as well. And obviously joint support, joint certification, roadmap alignment with them, and all that work for us to enable them to deliver the right solutions to the right users. Especially with the pandemic backdrop, this togetherness is so important for our customers and partners to make things easy for them. So, Sridhar, this is today's tenets. Obviously, you and I, we always look to the future. How do you see this as we move forward into the future? What are some of the key takeaways that you want to relate to our customers and partners in this event?
Yeah, Tarkan, the more we've been talking to our joint customers, right, I think it's pretty clear customers are rethinking their infrastructure and how they can use that to enable the next chapter, which is really a hybrid workforce, right? And as part of that, how do they build an infrastructure that supports not just hybrid workforce, but also hybrid IT, which is with hybrid multi-cloud solution, right? And really delivering the needs of that hybrid workforce is definitely accelerating, over the past 12 months. As an industry, we need to work together as an ecosystem of technologies in our customers' IT landscape and enable this direction into even new things like consumption-based services, multi-cloud services. And we want to partner with market leaders who can provide that open, flexible, and enterprise-ready platform for customers to accelerate, Citrix and our solutions on Nutanix and a hybrid environment. So for us, it was just a natural step to really take the partnership to the next level and work closely with Nutanix.
Sridhar, thank you so much for your time, like last year, and now formally as partners, as preferred partners this year. Really appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Tarkan. Really excited, and all the best for everybody at Nutanix, and have a great .next.
See you soon, my friend. And Rajiv, back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tarkan, and thank you, Sridhar and Citrix for your support. You can count on Nutanix and Citrix together to deliver true incremental value for you as a result of this partnership. So this is a wrap on our day one general session. I can tell you that ever since I joined Nutanix back in December 2020, it's been wonderful to connect with you all in this extended Nutanix community. I want to thank each and every one of you for your trust, your faith, and your connection with us. This .next conference, at its core, is all about delivering inspiration and insight to help you do your job and continue to develop your skills to further your careers. Have fun diving into our library of on-demand breakout sessions, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning for the Nutanix Cloud Platform Innovations and Strategy Keynote. We have so much to share, and I can't wait for everyone to absorb it all. A big thank you.